Hello, my name is David Koster. Welcome to my SDI lecture series entitled Improving and Succeeding at a Small School. This lecture series is going to be broken up into 4 parts, each with the goal of helping to improve your debating skills to help you succeed for those of you that attend a small high school like I did. Like I said, it's going to be broken up into 4 parts or 4 sections. Each section is going to be its own video. So this first section or first video is going to be an introduction to the lecture series as a whole, who I am, we're going to go over what we're going to talk about, and then we're going to go over some online resources that I use to succeed in high school. Section 2 is going to be my tips and tricks for improving on your own. So these are going to be strategies you can use both at tournaments and at your house to improve when you don't have a coach around or don't have somebody else. These are things you can do on your own to get better. Section 3 will be some methods my coach and I used in high school to improve. These are things and drills that require using one or more other people, but are helpful in their own right. Not to say you can't improve on your own, because you definitely can, but there are certain things and ideas to do with other people as well. So that's what we'll go over in section 3. Lastly, section 4 are going to be my tips and tricks, kind of what I learned from debating in high school at a small school, some of the things I wish I would have done, some of my tips for how to succeed in high school, that kind of thing. We'll go over that in section 4. Now you may be wondering, who is this guy? Well, my name is David Koster, as said above. I am a rising sophomore at Michigan State University. I debate for the policy team. I'm a 1A, 2N, and I recently qualified for the NDT, but more importantly, I debated in high school at Wichita Trinity Academy, which is a small private school in Wichita, Kansas. Decently, if not, I'd say very small. My graduating class was about 85 people, so that kind of puts it in perspective. In high school, I normally would only have maybe 5 or 6 people in debate with me at any given time. That would fluctuate. I think my freshman year was the biggest, around 9, whereas my senior year, we only had about 4 or 5. So definitely some fluctuation there, but not a whole lot of people debating at my high school despite that. I had decent success in high school. I ended my senior year finishing 7th at NSDA Nationals in Lincoln Douglas debate. I was a 6-time national qualifier, which includes qualifying both to NCFLs and NSCAs. And I also won state my sophomore year in Lincoln Douglas debate. So I had decent success, and I went to a small school, which is why they're having me do this lecture. We're going to kind of transition from who I am and kind of what the overarching goals are to some specific things and kind of some ideas we'll touch on a little later, but these are some online resources I have put together that I used in high school to both help myself develop, help me get increased amounts of evidence, see different strategies, that kind of thing. So we have the High School Policy Debate Wiki, Open Evidence, which is a collection of all the camp files put together by the different summer debate camps. We have MSU's Debate YouTube page, and we have the College Debate Wiki. These are kind of the 4 we're going to highlight. I'll talk about some other ones, but these are the ones we're going to go through individually. These links will also be provided as part of an information packet. So let's go through each of these in turn. The first one we're going to start with is the Policy Debate Wiki. So this is the Policy Debate Wiki. For those of you who haven't seen it before, it's basically where teams go and post their evidence, their sites, that kind of thing after a round. It's a way to do disclosure and to make it a faster process, especially at tournaments later in the season. You could be like, it's entry 5 on the wiki versus our round from when we faced Blue Valley West. And they'd be like, all right, go there, see the app and can learn from it. Now, this is useful in 2 regards. The first way is it helps you learn what people are saying. So when you're going to a tournament, say in your district or in your state, you can look up ahead of time the teams on Tab Room that are going to be there. You can say, oh, look, Wichita East is going to be there. Let's go see what their teams have read. See, oh, they're reading a Clean Water Act, and you're already ready to go with that kind of regard. But the second way is it also allows you to see what some of the top teams are doing in the country. And that is both a way to see their strategies, kind of see how others are approaching the topic, but also a way to get some good cards. So let's say you see a round that happened at one of the national circuit tournaments between Peninsula and Montgomery Bell Academy. You could go and look and be like, wow, Montgomery Bell Academy had this really cool dissat I never heard of before. Is this something I want to read in future debates? And then you can go and you can look at the cards they read, do a little more digging into that and determine whether this is a dissat that you want to read at the next turn. So that's kind of the way the policy debate wiki works. I'll go through and kind of just show an entry for those of you who haven't seen it before. So let's look at Blue Valley North here. So they have a team. They have the listed teams right here, and they have both a page for their AF and a page for their NA. We're gonna look at their affirmative just because it's easy to do. So if we click on this, you can see there are a whole bunch of different teams right here. Then they can give you the sites, so the AF they read and what the round was like. And then they also have down here some open evidence. So if you click on this, it'll download a document of the cards they read in the debate, which can be helpful. So that was the first resource. The second resource is the Open Evidence Project, or what I like to call it, camp files. So this is accumulated camp evidence from all the summer camps across the year. So last year's, for example, included all the evidence from the Berkeley camp, the Dartmouth camps, the Emory camp, Michigan's camp, obviously the SDI, Michigan State camp, Northwestern's camp, Texas, Missouri State, etc. So we have all this evidence from all these different places. Now, they break it up into a couple of categories, as explained here. So they have affirmative, case negatives, counterplans, disads, impact files, critiques, etc. They also included Lincoln Douglas, if that's what you're getting into, or politics, DAs, theory, topicality, etc. So they have all kinds of evidence and different resources you can use. Now, the way I would primarily use this in high school is for negative research, that when you go to a small school, you have less resources than a lot of these big schools. You don't have the ability to go out and do in-depth research on every case. And especially for the first tournament of the year, it's like you got to have something to say in your negative rounds. And open evidence is a way to get that. You can get case negs on basic mainstream affirmative. So last year, like one of the big AFs was the death penalty case. Well, there's lots of big cases on here for the death penalty case. Let's say somebody was reading a death penalty case, or let's say right here, a 13th Amendment case, and you hadn't really thought about that. You can go to open evidence, see, oh, look, they have evidence here, and use that evidence. Now, I'd say there are two big caveats when using open evidence. First, I would say retag and recut everything. These were accumulated by college debaters, high school debaters, etc. over the course of a camp. Not saying it's not good evidence, but you should read through, see if it's actually saying what it is. I've noticed when I was going through these files, there's kind of a tendency to power tag a lot of what the cards say. So go through, recut it, reread it, retag it, see if the evidence actually saying what it is, which that would honestly be a lot of my preseason prep, would be look at these case files. What do we have? Let's go through, let's accumulate. What are the good cards? What are the strategies we want to read? All right, what are some of the strategies we don't want to read? Let's say we have a card here. It's a good card, but it's just not a card we think we'll ever read. Well, we don't need to include that in our file. So that's kind of the first big caveat. The second caveat is use this as a starting point, not as a finishing point. So open evidence is a great place to start at the beginning of the summer, but you should use your research to supplement and improve these files. These are kind of the baseline, base place for evidence, and you should use your additional research to improve and expand on those. So by the end of the year, you have new strategies, you have different ideas, but you still have this back file, like broader sort of evidence that you can fall back on if you don't have anything in a given debate. The third resource is the MSU Debate page. So MSU Debate has a YouTube page. It's a great resource if you're trying to get some ideas about debate, that kind of thing. So as we can see here, we have like a video on how to succeed at tournaments produced by our director of debate, Carly. We have some videos by Will, such as like configuring your taskbar to debate, basic impact turn debating, that kind of thing. What else do we have down here? We have the Security K and Realism by Coach Will. So there's all kinds of different debate resources that you can go use as video tutorials, both to supplement your SDI experience, but also then during like the course of a year to just keep learning about debate, keep expanding your knowledge, that kind of thing. In fact, I would recommend subscribing to the channel so you don't miss new videos. That's not just me saying because I go to MSU, but it's a really great resource, a resource I used in high school and even now sometimes use in college to just kind of expand my debate knowledge and improve. There are other YouTube pages you can also go to. The Exodus Files is a great one and includes lots of college debate rounds that you can go and watch. If you Google like policy debate tips, you can find lots of things. If you put it in the YouTube bar, you'll be able to search up like how to do policy debate. There are going to be all kinds of video tutorials, but I would say use MSU Debate kind of as the starting point, but also as a good finishing point because we have some really good content on this channel. The last resource I want to talk about is the College Debate Wiki. So similar to high school, College Debate has a wiki. This is where we put our evidence, our disclosure, etc. Now, this one I'm putting last because it's not really helpful in terms of getting knowledge on your particular topic, because we obviously debate a different topic. You are going to be debating water resource policy this year. We're going to be debating antitrust law. So that doesn't really help in that regard. But it's a good place to go if you want to follow college teams, or if you want to follow some of the top college teams and find some generic evidence. So let's say we're both going to have politics CAs and you want some good politics cards. You could go be like, well, let's see what Kentucky's politics cards will look like. See if you can use any of that. Oh, we found some impact cards on here that we want to see read. We can look at those. Or if you're watching college debate rounds, this is a great way for you to supplement that experience by just kind of seeing the evidence they read. If you heard like a card, you're like, I really want to go look at that, you can come find it here. So that's why I included it. But I would say the order of prioritization, I would say use the high school debate wiki. I used it the most, followed by open evidence, followed by MSU debate, followed by the college debate wiki. So I'd say start with the high school wiki, see what others are doing, use open evidence to expand your files, get some basic case snakes, etc. Use MSU debate to get different ideas and to learn about debate. And lastly, use the college debate wiki to maybe find 1 or 2 gem cards, etc. Or just see what like college debate is going. So thank you for watching this first lecture. I'll see you in the second lecture where we talk about tips on improving on your own.